Exciting scenes at the European Championships. England ending a 55-year wait to defeat Germany in a knockout stage of any football event. Last time they did that was 1966. Great to see you. Thanks for joining us tonight with me, Yemi Adebayo, for the first edition of the show for the week. And of course, I've already hinted you where the discussion will center on tonight. We'll talk about the European Championships. As a matter of fact, let's just go straight and take a look at what is happening at Euro 2020. As we speak, a game is currently going on. Last time I checked, it was 1 goal apiece. And so there you have it on your screen. Sweden and Ukraine, it's 1 goal apiece. Second half just about beginning. And so we'll see what happens. We'll be your eyes and your ears. We'll monitor things for you. And the big one, England and Germany. Of course, the game didn't hit the heights a lot of people expected. But for historians, first time that England will be defeating Germany in a knockout stage of a football event at the senior level. And the last time they did something like this, they went on to win the only major trophy that the Three Lions have. That's the 1966 World Cup. So England defeating Germany at the round of 16 of the European Championships, courtesy of goals from Raheem Sterling and captain Harry Kane, who opened his account today, his first goal in 4 matches. So England advanced to the last 8 of the European Championship. And of course, the dream to win the competition is still intact. Remember, Gareth Southgate says anything less than a semi-final at the European Championships is failure in his books. All right, so that's the update from the European Championships. We'll give you more as we go on the show. Let me give you a quick rundown of what to expect as we go on. We will, at every point, there's something to talk about. We'll revert to the European Championships, but we will also continue with our countdown to the Olympics, Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to have a discussion on table tennis, the kind of representation Nigeria should expect at the Olympics. And of course, we'll also look at football on the domestic scene. A lot of issues, and we're taking reactions to some of the issues. Last week, we brought to you Samson Siasia's reaction immediately after the verdict by the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS. Today, the sports minister is reacting to some of the things that he said, and also we'll take a look at other issues in Nigerian football. And we will not forget the big one, the Grand Slam currently going on. That's in Wimbledon, the Wimbledon Championship currently going on. And today, a lot of us, the scenes touched our hearts, seeing Serena Williams shedding tears as the wait for the 24th Grand Slam title continues for Serena Williams. And she couldn't hold back the tears. Injury forced her out of Wimbledon. Those scenes, got a lot of people emotional seeing Serena Williams just shedding tears. And we'll do that for you. We'll talk about it as we go on the show. But first, let's start this way. Let's start with our countdown. Later on, I'll introduce my partners to you when they're ready. But we'll start with the countdown to the Olympics. That's what we're starting with. And there you have it, 24 days to go. Officially, it's 24 days to go, and everything is confirmed now, and the dissenting voices have gone down. So a lot. So 24 days to go, and we're waiting for the start of the biggest sporting event on the planet. That's the Tokyo Olympics, 24 days to go. What are the things we need to let you know? Of course, today, the torch relay took place in the Kanagawa Prefecture for the second day. The 3-day tour began yesterday. Today's day 2, and torchbearers posed and performed little dances on the stage for the 97th day. The torch has been moving around Japan. We told you that it's going to go through 47 prefectures. So this is the 97th day. And this journey will take a total of 121 days. So 97 days as it is. Of course, the ceremony slimmed down, scaled down because of COVID-19. So the torch will remain in the Kanagawa for another day, for one more day. So we'll see what happens with that one. But everybody already gearing up for the Olympics. And I dare say that's a very good one. Okay, so let's move on the show. Let's move on the show and talk about some other issues. Let's move on and talk about Russia. Russia is in the news. Of course, the Russian Olympic Committee will send 335 athletes to the Tokyo Olympics next month. That has been confirmed by the president of the Russian Olympic Committee. They will compete without their national flag. Of course, you know the reasons why Russia has been accused of systemic doping, and this is part of the fallout. So, of course, they acknowledge that they will be sending 335 athletes, which, of course, will not be flying the Russian flag. But, of course, we all know they're Russians, but they wouldn't be flying their flag. So we'll see what happens with that one. Russia has acknowledged in time past some shortcomings that they have with some of the things they've been accused of, but they deny running a state-sponsored doping scheme. But that's what they've been accused of, even though they acknowledge that there are some mistakes here and there. But Russia claims it didn't do any state-sponsored doping. All right. So with that in mind, let me bring in my colleague, Austin Okon-Akpan. He joins me on the show. And also, we will have an interesting discussion about table tennis. But first, let me bring Austin into it, especially. I'd like to get his comments about Russia. We've joked about it so many times. Greetings to you, Austin. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if you find the Russian story amusing. To me, it is. They're sending athletes to the Olympics. But, of course, you know they're not going to be flying your flag. Everybody knows why, even though Russia continues to deny. It looks like a funny scenario to me.
Sporting greetings, yeah, it's good to be on the show. Yes, this is a familiar story with Russia, and it's the IOC's resolve on WADA and everybody who wants to ensure that we have a clean sporting environment, and of course, bring some integrity and sanity into the sports. That's why they're doing this to Russia. So Russia agreed to systemic doping. And that's part of the punishment that they're getting. You go to the Olympics, but you're not going to fly the flag. And look, anybody that wants to come out to contest to say, oh, they're being unfair to Russia and all of that, at least they're giving the athletes an opportunity to compete. But it is still passing that message out there that there's no place for cheating. There's no place for you coming to do short squats in the sport, particularly when there are persons who genuinely work hard and then some other persons just rely on doping and come get all the glory. So Russia has been in this for some time now, and they've come out to say, look, we know that a lot of persons are against us. We know that some persons don't want Russia to come out there and shine the way they should. But the fact that they agree, particularly to systemic doping, state-sponsored doping, that's serious problem right there for Russia. And I stand with WADA, I stand with the IOC, I stand for clean sport, I stand for integrity. They deserve what they're going through. But I also love the fact that there was reasoning at some points. These athletes, they get to prepare so much. They're professionals. They still have a chance to fly, but they're going to be neutral.
Okay. All right. That's a good one, Austin. Austin, stand by. We're going to have an interesting conversation shortly with someone that I'll introduce in a bit. First, let's just tell you about Team Nigeria. A quick update on Team Nigeria. Of course, Nigeria has qualified 61 athletes across 9 sports for the Olympics. We'll give you a breakdown of it. I'm very sure it's going to come up on your screen while I'm speaking. And there you have it. 22 have qualified for athletics, 3 qualified for badminton, 24 on the roster for basketball, both the male and the female teams, 1 athlete for canoe, canoe sprint, 1 athlete for rowing, 1 athlete for gymnastics, 1 athlete for taekwondo, 4 athletes for table tennis, and 1 athlete for wrestling. 22 athletes in 4 events for the Paralympic Games, 5 para athletics, 10 powerlifting, 1 power rowing, 6 para table tennis. So that's the composition as it is for now of the athletes that will represent Nigeria at the Olympics. All right. So let's move on. I talked about an interesting conversation that we're going to have about table tennis. Of course, on the show, joining me tonight, all the way from Ibadan, I have the technical director of the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation, Tayo Adesoji. Good evening to you, sir. Thanks for joining us on the show. Okay, you might have to mute yourself. You might have to mute yourself so that we can have. You have to unmute yourself so we can have this conversation.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, of course I can. So it appears that we can have the conversation now. All right. Good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the show. And I'd really like to get your thoughts as we look towards the Olympics, just 24 days away. But I want us to, our scope will be on table tennis. We won't move beyond table tennis. So your thoughts as we approach the games, what should Nigerians expect from table tennis?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me once again. In table tennis, we're having 4 representatives representing Nigeria at the Olympics. We have Haruna Quadri, who is currently number 21 in the world as we speak. We have the Lagos sensation, Gideon Omotayo, is the current African champion. Those are the 2 male participants at the Olympics. Of course, we have ageless Funke Chineke, who will be attending our 7th Olympics, just like Segun Triola. And then Edem Efeong, who is going for our 4th Olympics. These are the 4 able players that will be representing Nigeria at the Olympics. In terms of our chances, I'm sure if I take you down memory lane, you remember that it was Haruna Quadri 2016 that shocked the world by qualifying for the 4th time for any African player to have qualified the quarterfinals. He beat Yobo of Germany. And Yobo of Germany is today the European champion. And so if you look at it from that angle, yes, Haruna Quadri is not the same Haruna Quadri then. He's a far better player now. He plays in Germany. So with that, we have opportunity. Same thing for Gideon Omotayo, who downed everybody at the African qualifier to qualify. And with those players, I'm sure they will try their best and we will come with medals.
Okay, all right. That's where I was going, and you've gotten there now. I mean, our hopes resting on those 4 that you have mentioned, and you've reeled out all the things they've done. They need little or no introduction. But why do you think, because you mentioned medal, if you had stayed at credible showing, I probably wouldn't have said anything. But now that you're saying medal, and of course, I take your word seriously because I know you know what you're saying. But are you talking about the men, the women, or generally you think the prospects are really bright for us with the 4 of them?
Yeah, table tennis is a tough game. It's like running 100 meters. The difference between top 40 players is most of the time is just 1 point. And so that 1 point could switch either way. And for Haruna Quadri to be world number 21, and he's been competing with every other top players in the world in Germany. That gives us, even when it was in Portugal and it was not even in the first 50, he was able to get quarterfinals. We have hope. The same thing for Gideon Omotayo. He's been going through a series of camps. Even when we were during lockdown, he was in a camp. So all of them are really working hard to make a difference. So anything can happen, especially when you're in 21. Anything can happen.
All right. I agree with you. And that's the spirit every sportsman should have. Anything can happen. Do your part and we see how it goes. All right. I want to digress a little. And of course, you know, at the team events, the doubles, all the team events, we didn't get a chance to qualify. And a lot of people are beginning to say, probably we are losing ground on our rival, Egypt. So if I'm posing that to you, what's your opinion on that? Do you think it's just a blip, it just happened, or we should be worried we're losing ground?
I think it does happen. And I have to be factual about that because I'm talking to Nigerians. The Egyptians have been on top of the game. They've been working hard, and we need to do the same. If you notice that it's only good tennis this year that we've been having series of championship. This is a bidding time for us. We've seen what has happened. We've seen that we need to go back to the drawing board and bring in fresh, young, new players. The game is changing, the dynamics have changed. And so we need to be shopping all around the country. We've been having series of competitions from cadets up to senior level. You know, and now we are discovering new players that can come and replace our aging players. If you look at the team list, Chegutrola is no more there. I'm not sure Funke will go for any other Olympics after this one. You know, and so we need players that will replace them. That was what happened to Egypt in the past. Now they're back. We too should work hard to ensure that we have players that can compete, you know, at the international level, and that's what we're doing now. So we're trying to shop all around. Now you have Boboye from Bayelsa coming out. You have Usman from Ibadan, Usman Okonla coming out. You have Aziz Sholanke. We have the young lad that's gone, that's on scholarship with ITTF from Ondo. Mati is there. So we have quite a lot of young players that are less than 20 years of age now coming up strong that we can rely on. We only need to give them the right exposure as we give to those that are aging now, so that they can, you know, compete favorably. You will notice that Usman was in World Championship some weeks back, and he got silver, under 15 silver. He was beaten by a Russian at the finals. With the same, Mati is going on scholarship now to Germany, Yobo, and Boboye too is warming up to go for another championship. So we are working hard to bring up young players to replace our aging players.
Okay. All right. Before I let you go, this is going to be my your party shot on the show. You're very optimistic, and I like your optimism. But what are your own expectations? And it is very important to me because of your depth of knowledge on the game and the position that you occupy on the national scene when it comes to table tennis. So what are your own expectations, aside from painting a positive, you know, being positive and painting a good picture? What standard would you expect from the team that if they meet you, say, okay, this was a good performance?
Yeah, if we look at the game, it's singles. We're not playing doubles, neither we play mixed doubles or doubles. And so it's one person against another player. What I take from them is to show the skills that they're made up of. They should not get intimidated by names or by status or by color. And I think all the 4 players are exposed because they've played internationally. They are all in Europe, and they've met all these players in various competitions before. I expect the African ruggedness to come out. You know, it's not just enough to play the fancy full game. It's win.
All right. All right.
Win.
Okay. All right. So I want to thank you for your time on the show today. Hopefully, we'll get to have this conversation some other time.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, so that's it. We've been speaking with the technical director of the Nigeria Table Tennis Federation. We need to go on the break right about now. Osino Konakwan is still with me. I will continue with our conversation about the Olympics and all the issues happening in Nigerian sports. Join us again. Welcome back. Let's quickly go to the European Championships. Let's see if anything has changed since the last time we checked. Let's just see. It appears nothing has changed. Sweden and Ukraine is still a goal apiece. 68 minutes of football played in that game. Of course, the first game ended with England defeating Germany. We'll get the thoughts of my guests on that one later on. All right. Let me also quickly bring in Femi Faraway, joins us on the show tonight. Femi, greetings to you. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show tonight.
Hello, Yemi. It's great to be here as well. Good evening.
All right, let me, it's not time for it yet, but I want to quickly get your thoughts. Were you surprised by the outcome of the game between England and Germany? I want a quick response from you.
No. I thought the English deserved it.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll speak about that later on the show. Please be on standby. I want you to listen in. We're going to talk about the home-based Super Eagles. Austin Okonakman is still with us as well. The sports minister, Sunday Diary, visited the camp of the home-based Super Eagles, and he responded to some questions thrown at him by journalists, some issues that had been on the fore. Of course, topping that list is comments made by the former coach of the Super Eagles, Samson Siasia, on his travails, on how he feels he was neglected. But first, let's listen to him talk about Coach Gernot Rohr, especially his attitude to the home-based Super Eagles. When we listen to that, we'll come back. I'll get the thoughts of Femi and Austin with regards to the comments of the sports minister.
His attitude towards home-based players is unacceptable. It is negative to our football development in this country. And I call on the NFF to call him to order. I call on the NFF to hold him by the contents, by the letter of his contract. But beyond that, he needs to shut up and do the work for which he was hired to do. He talks too much. We have started a process now. We will make sure that these players here, we can measure their talent and skills. He must blend the home-based players with foreign-based players. I'm glad Nigerians watch these games. They can always put the games played by our foreign-based players with the ones these players will play now. They have the opportunity. Like I said, we must return back to the strength of our football development. In the past, we've seen a mixture of 5, 6 home-based players hold our defense so tight, and then you bring in foreign-based players who do the damage up front. It has always worked for us. Since we departed from just assembling 99% of our players, which is an easy ride for any technical advisor, we have struggled to score goals. We end up with draws without scoring goals. But I think that there's a new trajectory on the part of NFF. Gernot Rohr must key into that. And I hope that his position about this country not being able to win Cup of Nations, these home-based players not deserving of his time, he's supposed to coach Nigerian Super Eagles players. He cannot discriminate.
Welcome back from that. Let me go to Austin first. I'll allow Femi listen to what Austin has to say. Then I'll get back to Femi. But obviously you heard the sports minister obviously not pleased with the attitude of Coach Gernot Rohr, saying, look, these guys are part of the squad. You've been employed to coach the Super Eagles. Also probably doesn't like some of the comments about the coach saying doesn't look like we can win a major tournament. So what's your take on all that you've heard the minister say?
Well, it's dicey, you know, and it's not the first time that the minister is firing shots at Coach Gano Robb. The third coach advisor is definitely doing something that the minister doesn't like. But what I could take from it is I like the fact that he says we should start looking inwards and that we're about to change the narrative, should give attention to home-based players. And we've been saying it, you know, it's not new. But what are we doing, particularly in terms of developing the league, in terms of ensuring that we raise the level of competition? Because that's what Coach General always talk about, you know, that there's a wide gap between the guys playing outside the country and the guys playing in the Nigeria Professional Football League. It doesn't take anything away from the fact that we have quality in the league. But a charge is a charge, and that's the Minister of Sports right there saying, look, this state of Nigeria cannot compete for major competitions, particularly the AFCON, you know, but this can be misinterpreted in a lot of ways, and that's where the minister needs to, you know, apply some level of wisdom when he talks about things like this, particularly the roles of the Super Eagles coach. As I said, it's dicey. It's not the first time we're hearing these sort of talks. We just hope that the coach will be professional about it, take the things that he needs to take in, you know, and make amends. Yes, I agree that we should be competing for competitions, but it takes a lot of hard and smart work. Right. So we should also do that to ensure that, yes, we go to competitions really equipped to win.
All right. Okay, let me go to Femi now. I mean, let me give another background to it. I mean, senior officials of the NFF were with him when he was addressing the journalists. So they were there, they listened to him. But Femi, let me just ask you if, I mean, the minister's view about excuses getting too much seems, he appears like he's tired of those excuses. And of course, I want to get your thoughts. Do you think the excuses are too much? Do you think it could do more with regards to the home-based players?
Well, I totally agree that there could be more. And Austin has mentioned quite a few things: development, making the league a lot more competitive, getting a calendar where the players will understand when and how they should benefit from this development process. But one key fact I think that the minister should also hammer on is someone gave General that job. They should be tasked with ensuring that this man delivers on those things. Because at the end of his reign, at the end of his tenure with the national team, one of the questions we would ask, what are the benefits? How did it improve the domestic player? How did it improve the domestic league? If Ross says, oh, it's the Chan Eagles, it's not my responsibility, the FA has to ensure he's there to watch the players, because a number of these players feature for the Super Eagles. You need to know the development, the competitive level of Anna Yoiwela, competitive level of John Noble, competitive level as well of Ikechukwu Ezenwa. But altogether, I think the minister has made clear statements. Now it's over to the federation. They need to do a lot more. If you should put a clause in his contract, that's fine. But he has to see more games. He has to be key to communicate with the local coaches. That, for me, is key. You need to know the level of competition, the level of fitness of all these players, the stories from them this season and the stats. So that's the charge. The next thing is for them to ensure they implement all these things he's mentioned.
All right, a good one. Let's also go to other matters arising, like they say. A lot of people have, you know, talked about Joseph Yobo. Okay, if the head coach is not around, what about the assistant coach? Why is he not in charge? The technical director of the NFF gave an answer to that question. Let's listen to Austin Egwavon, cleared here on the issues around Joseph Yobo's absence. Then, of course, I'll come back to get Femi's thought on that one and Austin's thought on that as well.
I'm an employee of the Nigerian Football Federation. Get me right. I'm not trying to shy away from the question. We are all employees of Nigerian Football Federation. Like I told most of your colleagues, I had a chat with Yobo about a week ago, where he told me he has a family issue to deal with. And then I went to the General Secretary about Yobo's joining us, because this is normally his place to be with us. and General Secretary told me that Yobo's name is on the list. So we were expecting Yobo. So seeing him over there, it's surprising. But again, maybe it's just a maybe. Maybe Yobo has signed a contract with Super Sports before the Mexican thing came up. It cannot be 100% true. There's also an element of truth in that, because I've always done punditry job before. I had a written contract over 2 years. Even the time I signed for Sunshine, I made them understand that if they are called upon at any given time, they should allow me go, reflected in my contract. So maybe Yobo has signed this contract before Nigeria went to the agreement of playing Mexico game, but we have to find out.
All right. Another issue also being sorted. Let me come to Femi. Austin Governor has tried to explain in his own way. He expects Yobo to be there. Unfortunately, he's not there. He's doing a punditry job, and he tried to clear the air. He tried to sort it, and he made it clear, I don't have all the answers, but we have to give Yobo the benefit of the doubt, and we'll see how all of these things can be sorted.
Well, I don't totally agree with giving Yobo all the doubts or clearing all of that. I think the blame goes to the Nigerian Football Federation. If we took a manager who's got other commitments, that should have been stated at the beginning. This is the opportunity for Yobo to also get his hands as well by running the team through some of the things he's picked up since he took charge of the assistant position of the national team. He knows the game. He knows what he's doing. This is a perfect opportunity. But there are loads of things I would say that, maybe, like Guadman explained, he probably signed the contract long ago, but the Federation should know that. The Federation should also be able to clearly say this at the start of the campaign. Yobo would be absent. So there's no question of where is Yobo, because until this moment, the Federation has not sent out a statement saying Yobo will not be available for this game. As a matter of fact, after Guadman said he spoke to Yobo, and Yobo mentioned to him that he has family issues to resolve, we were all surprised when we saw Yobo on television. And that begs the question of, if Yobo was going to be on TV, did the Federation know? If they do not know, that means he's gone away from his official work without leave of absence. So it's not good for us. It's not good. It doesn't paint us in a good picture. And I totally say this, that the Federation takes the blame for me on this.
All right. Let me see if Austin has a different view, even though we're pressed for time, but I would love to hear what Austin has to say about this as well. So, Austin, ball is in your court. We just have a lot of things to sort out. Our house needs to be in order. You listened to the minister while he was speaking, and I saw both vice presidents of the NFF behind him when he was making those comments. I probably would have loved to get their views immediately after the sports minister made those comments, but obviously the guys didn't get a chance to do that. But going back to the Joseph Yobo issue and how Igor has tried to, without indicting anybody, without pointing fingers, but state his own position. What's your thoughts on all of that?
I remember the last time I talked to you, I told you that 99.9% of our problem with Nigeria sports is communication. It's a major, major problem. I just don't know. Do you know, with just 4 paragraphs, they can explain why Joseph Yobo is missing. They can explain why Austin Eguavoen is taking charge. 3-4 paragraphs, and we're fine. I always tell the NFF and sporting officials in Nigeria, public relations does not solve problems. It avoids problems. Austin Eguavoen is doing a good job. You could tell that's a legend of football in Nigeria. You could tell that he's trying his best to make sure that the dirty things that will come out of this is not, exposed because of the crucial nature of the friendly against Mexico. But why are we not talking? I've sent a message to Joseph Yobo. He's a very good friend. I know he's going to get back to me, and then I'll get to understand his side of the story. But then again, it just goes to show that we're not just ready to do the simple things that brings development. Simple, basic things will make it look like big deal, you know. So a lot of people will start saying, oh, politics. Some persons, of course, will say, oh, they know he wasn't qualified. Why did they bring him into the team? Others will say they want to mafia him out. And then you just give people room to speculate and say all sorts. And then you distract these home-based players that are going for a competition that can turn their future around. It's a problem, and I just really wish that someday the leadership of the NFL will sit down and say, guys, what are those simple things we can start doing that will make the life of football easier in this country, and then start doing it?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope we'll see that day very, very soon, I hope, very soon. All right, I'm talking about the sports minister, you know, reacting to comments made by Samson Siasia, and I have no intention to paraphrase. I'm going to let you listen to the sports minister's reaction to Samson Siasia's claims of being abandoned. Then, of course, I'll get back to my analysts to give me their thoughts on that. So let's just quickly listen to Sports Minister Sunday Dare react when he was asked about Samson Siasia's comments on his travail and how he feels abandoned by Nigerians.
Without any iota of doubt, I can say Samson Siasia was not abandoned. And that's why I said that he's not saying the truth. If you met with me as minister more than 4 times, if I intervened with a number of governors on your behalf with results, perhaps maybe the result didn't meet your expectation. It's just support. If more than 5, 6 times I was talking to you, you can't say you are abandoned. As a ministry, we also have budget. We don't have any sub-ed for legal fees for somebody who was operating in a private capacity and has a problem. But in spite of that, we worked with him. So if he sees the cup half empty, that's unfortunate. I see the cup half full because we engaged him, we intervened on his behalf. Perhaps the result did not reach the quantum he expected. And I cannot take money out of my budget that has not been appropriated for a specific purpose. Nobody anticipated that that would come up.
All right. So let me go to Austin, and as Austin is responding, he knows how it is. We're going to go on a break any moment. But just a quick one on the minister's reaction to Samson Siasia's comments.
The minister is sound, you know, particularly when he speaks. He's a journalist, so he knows the right words to use and all of that. And then you have to listen to some Dare. He's got good use of words, you know. So he said the right things, you know, and it's good for the PR of his office. But Coach Samson Siasia also have his views, and he said it straight up that look, he's pained. He is pained because he felt abandoned. Yes, the minister said it that maybe not to the level he expected, particularly with the help that they gave to him. But he has a point. He has a point. And again, I said it the other day that it all boils down to communication. Oh, Coach Samson Siasia, what's the issue? I don't know why we find it so difficult to engage the press. Call for press conferences, send out press releases, just cover, keep person updated. Oh, look at where we are with the Siasia case now. We've written to FIFA. We've asked questions. Our son, a legend of our Nigerian football, says he's not guilty of this charge. FIFA, how did you find him guilty? Can you talk to us? We just want to be sure that you're doing the right thing. Let justice prevail. Simple. That's all. I'm sure that was what Siasia wanted, you know. But as the minister said, maybe what they did was not enough for him. But let's see. How this will pan out, because I mean we're living this life. Another situation will come up, and then we'll see how they're going to handle it.
All right, so I guess we'll leave it at that for now. When we come back from this break, I'll get Femi's thoughts on this. Even though we have a lot of ground to cover, but these are very important issues that we need to solve through. We need to go on a break right about now. When we return, we're back to wrap things up on the show. We'll go for the break, and we'll return to talk about the NPFL European Championships and also a slice of Wimbledon. All right, welcome back. We're on the home stretch. Let's just quickly take a look at the midweek fixtures for tomorrow in the Nigerian Professional Football League. Let's just give that to you quickly. Like I said, we have a lot of ground to cover before we cross the finish line on the show. MFM will take on Canopilas. Canopilas already in Lagos. We caught up with the coach. We'll take his reaction later on. Rivers United will slug it out with Plateau United. Aqua United will take on Nasarawa United. Jigawa Golden Stars will take on Katsina United. These are the fixtures in the Nigeria Professional Football League. Match day 30 fixtures. FC Ifeanyi will take on Adamawa United. Lobi Stars will take on Heartland. Sunshine Stars will take on Wiki Tourists. And of course, the Aba Elephants will take on, that's talking about Eimba, will take on Warri Wolves. Still on match day 30, Rangers will take on Abia Warriors. Dakada will take on Kwara United. These are fixtures in the Nigeria Professional Football League. Let's quickly go back to the Euros and see if anything has changed. 90 minutes plus actually is still 1-1 at the Euros. Talking about the second game is live. Femi, let me get to you. It looks like we might go into extra time, but I want a quick response. Has this game lived up to your expectation?
Yeah, this one certainly has as well. I've been excited by what both teams had to offer. Even in match, I thought this was the most equally matched game in the round of 16. Both of them had had their own troubles all through the group phase and the advantage. And they got to this point, 1 goal apiece. Zinchenko got one for Ukraine. There's one from Forsberg as well. They've been balanced all through. May go all the way to penalties.
Okay, all right. We'll see. Your thoughts on Frank de Boer? Some will say did the honorable thing, looked at the situation. Netherlands definitely disappointed. He has quit. Are you surprised? Are you not?
I'm kind of surprised because first things first, I thought he was going to, stay to correct whatever it is. But it's obvious that he didn't have a grasp of the job. I thought the group phase were too easy for the Netherlands, got to their first real test, and automatically crumbled. You can feel for the Netherlands. Before this, they had a good team, a good manager, Ronald Koeman. He's built a lot to get to this point until Barcelona came on board. But they'll have to start asking themselves, where next from here? Van Nistelrooy is the vice coach or the assistant coach, I beg your pardon. So maybe he may be given the requirements to take over the job, at least until a permanent replacement is announced.
Okay, all right. Let me go to Austin for what might be his parting shot on the show. Serena Williams, the tears, the pain, the frustration. The wait continues for the 24th Grand Slam. But were you emotional as some people were seeing her shed tears as injury forced her off today?
I lost you for a minute, for a bit. Can you say that again, please?
Yeah. Serena Williams and what transpired, how injury forced her out and the tears. We're going to see the pictures, how it all ended before it started for Serena at Wimbledon. She strapped her leg. You could see she had a lot of difficulty in moving, and at some point she had to give it up.
Yeah, I mean, with this Serena story today, I was like, maybe this is it. Maybe Serena should just quit or just go away for a year when there's not much pressure. Just come back.
Okay. All right. It does appear like we've it appears like we've lost Austin. But let me allow Femi Faraway just quickly pitch in. We're about to go. Femi, your thoughts on this very emotional scenes there, seeing. All right, Femi, your thoughts. We're about to go, but this moment, how did it make you feel?
Now, Serena, this would have probably been one of the best opportunities for her to equal that record. The level field or the playing field has been leveled with injuries and some players rolling themselves out. But I'm sure she'll see the US Open as another opportunity. Hopefully, she'll have a better competition level. I think she's a natural winner. She'll come back better and stronger.
Wow, the tears, the pain, the frustration,
Yeah.
all on the face of Serena Williams. And I mean, you could feel, I feel for her, and we'll see. She's a fighter. Hopefully she'll be able to come back stronger. All right, so that's it. Let's just quickly go back to the Euros and see if there's anything to report. Let's see, that's going to be our parting shot on the show. The Euros, it appears like regulation time. It's done. We probably will be heading to extra time. So that's the situation report at the Euros. All right. So, of course, the finish line on the show tonight. But let me thank my partners on the show. Femi, I want to thank you for your time. I know we're struggling to hear each other. Technology seems to be having one on us. But I want to say a big thank you to Femi Faraway and Austin Okonakman for taking our time to be with me on the show.
Thank you. It was great being here.
Thank you.
All right, so that's it. That's the end of the show today. We're back here again tomorrow. Take you on a trip across the money-spinning world of sports. Enjoy the rest of your night. We're back here again tomorrow. I'm Adebayo. Bye-bye now.